Ah, welcome back. So, where were we when we left off? Well, we had just sort of created a very basic form for the ingredients table. I hadn't even saved it, it turns out. So I've just done the same thing again today. Created another new form, and this time we are going to save it. So we're going to close it, and yes, we want to save it, and we're going to call it new ingredient form, because we're only ever going to use this for adding new ingredients. If there is a requirement to edit an ingredient, which is kind of unlikely, but if there is, then I'll either do it directly in the table as and when that's needed, or if I get really enthusiastic, I'll create a UI for editing. But for the time being, as far as the ingredients table is concerned, we're only really going to be able to add them. So that's why it's called a new ingredient form. So we'll save that, and now we'll open it up again in design view. And let's have a little bit of a look here. I have, much to my surprise, actually done a little bit of planning here. We're only going to go sort of about one day ahead at a time in terms of planning. So here is the new ingredient form, and as I've just said, it is only going to be used to add new ingredients. Yep, covered all that. We'll add a UI later if I need to edit ingredients. But the bottom line here is, when the form opens, I don't want to see a list of all the ingredients in there already. I want to be going straight into being able to add a new ingredient. So if we look at this, let's go back again, close it again, open it again, what you'll see is it starts at number 1. In fact, it will allow us to go through all of the ingredients that are in the ingredients table. I don't want that. What I want is, when you open the form, for it to go straight to the new one. So let's have a look in the old design view here, shall we? Select the form itself, and what we're going to do is we're going to add some code to the event on load. So this will happen every time this form loads. Yeah, now I am going to use a VBA. That's just the way I do it, because the last time I really used Access was, let me think, in the early to mid 90s, where I used it quite a lot for the company I work for. And in terms of VBA, it doesn't seem like much has changed since. Now, other people, maybe more up-to-date people, or I don't know, people of a different taste, may do all this with macros or expressions. I don't even know if that's possible. I don't care. I'm not really, I could spend longer finding out than it's going to take me to write the VBA. So code builder it is. And it's on the wrong screen, so let's pop this onto the right screen. So here we are. So this is what's going to happen every time this form loads, and what we want to do is we want it to automatically create a new record. So let's go run command, and what is it? It's AC command records go to new. Now that would work, except in the fact where it is already a new record, which is really ever going to happen when there's no ingredients in the ingredient table, which is never really going to happen. But for safety's sake, because it will cause an error if you try and create a new record when it's already showing a new blank record, we'll just need to capture this. So what we want to do is we want it to do this unless it's already a new record showing, in which case we don't need to do anything. So if not me new record, then then do this, and if so, yeah, if it isn't already a new record that's showing, then make it a new record, else basically do nothing. So we'll close that down for a minute, and we shall close this and save it, and then when we open it, you'll see it goes directly to a new record. Fantastic. So let's have a look at what's on the list of things to do. We need to add some buttons. and we need to add an abort button, which is going to basically go in and if we hit the abort button, it's going to undo everything we've done and close the form. So for example, if we go on in here and we started typing in a new ingredient, you can see that it's assigned a new record ID, and it's telling us that we're editing a record. So this is actually going to be being stored in the ingredients table. If we get to this point here and go, actually I don't want to create a new ingredient anymore, if we just close this, which I can do like so, and open up the ingredients table, you'll see that there you go, at the bottom there it's created that new ingredient which we don't want. So we're going to need a method on here to say, actually no, undo all that, forget it, and just close the form. Don't make any saves. So what we do is we go back into the design view. We're going to make a little bit of space up in the header, I think this is called up here. We'll get that out of the way, and we'll create a button called cancel that, we'll do it all ourselves. Format, caption, we'll call it abort, and event, on click, code builder. Oh, actually no, I don't want to do that. Let's delete this. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to give this button a decent name, so later on I know what the hell it is. So we'll just call it the abort button, and then we'll add an on-click event handler, code builder. There we are, that's got a proper name. So what we'll do is we'll do undo everything that's on there, which is pretty simple, me undo. So that's going to undo everything that we've done. Even if it's created a new record, it will basically delete that record, and then just simply close the form. So that's that. We'll close that down, and we can test that out. If we go into form view, and if we put in like that and go abort, well, yeah, that's happening because we've actually made some changes to the form itself. So we say yes, because it's tried to close the form. It's noted that we've made changes to the code. Do we want to save them? Yes. So let's go back into the ingredients table, and you'll see that it's not there. Let's delete this one for now. We don't want that. You'll see the last record is a 56 whipped cream. So if we open that form again and try another new ingredient, you'll see it's given it an ID of 60. If we abort, go back into the table, go down to the bottom, you'll see it is not there, which is good. We don't want it. So let's go back into the design view again, and we need one other button, which is to close the form, but actually don't undo anything. So yeah, pretty straightforward really. let's create a new button, cancel, let's call it close, and let's give it a name of close button. Ooh, let's do that properly, and then again let's create a click handler, and basically we don't need to do anything other than to say close the form. Yeah, so let's close this down, save it, yes, open it up, okay. So this one will be saved, and click the close button. You'll notice I've done nothing about actually making these the same size or lining them up with anything. Really, all the sort of tarting up and making it look nice can come right at the end. Functionality is what we're doing here. So let's close, and that one should have saved. There we go. This one would have saved. It would delete that because we don't really want an ingredient called that. And yeah, so let's go back into our design view again, and we're going to do one other thing today. We're going to expand a little bit of space down here, and you'll see why in a second. And let's take a little look at our little list of things to do. So we have done this. We have created an abort button, we have created a close button. So now we need an ingredient type selector. Yeah, so it's going to take it from an ingredient types table, which we created already. And so let's do that. What we'll do is, rather than having this here, which is a just a blank text box, and we don't really want to have to keep typing in the type all the time. We just want to choose from a drop down. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that, and we need to remove this. This is all part of a new thing, I think, since 20 years ago or however long it was, that remove layout. Since the last time I used Access in any meaningful way, is it does these layout things which I don't know and I can't be bothered figuring out. So I'll just remove it. I'm going to move it down here for a second, and in its place I'm going to put a drop down. So here we go, and actually we can use built-in functionality of Access to do this work for us. I want the combo box to get values from another table or query. That's exactly what I want to do, and it's going to get it from ingredient types, yes, and we want type, yep, and we probably want to sort it by type, yep, hide key column, yep, remember the value for later use, yep, that'll do, and we'll call it type combo. That's what the name of our combination box is, which is what Access calls a drop-down box. So if we were to have a look at this a minute, you'll see that the ingredient type has moved down to the bottom because we moved it down there, and we now have this box here, and as you can see, it is picking up information in alphabetical order from our ingredients type table. There you go, you see it's displaying the same data, but it's giving us it in a little drop down, so we can just click one rather than having to type PG. It just removes the risk of, I don't know, spelling PG wrong, using uppercase instead of lowercase. You know, it's good to have them all the same. But that isn't really doing anything at the moment because it's not being attached to this. So if I created a new ingredient, let's call it gold for no good reason, and we call it VG, and then we close, yes, we want to save the changes, and we go back into ingredients, you'll see that gold is a PG flavor, not what we set, and that is because, let's go into the design view, that's because it says here unbound. So actually this is just not actually bound to any field in the database, it's just displaying data. So what we want to do is we want to bind this, and what do we want to bind it to? Well, we want to bind it to the ingredient type, which is what this text box is currently bound to. So if we click on that and we go here and we go here and we go here, now it is bound to the ingredient type, the same as this one, which means that we don't actually need that anymore, like so. And let's close it, yes, and open it again, and let's do silver this time, and let's make it Nick. Close, open the ingredients table, go down to the bottom, and we've got a bit of a problem. It hasn't done the same thing as last time, but we've got our new ingredient, but it's saying 1. 1. What's 1? Well, let's close this down and let's open this form up in design view. What it's doing is it's actually looking up what we select in this box. So let's view it again, and we chose Nick, and it is looking up in that table Nick, and it is taking the ID, and that's what it's filling in. So we need to change that. So the way that we do that, and actually the automated sort of wizard thing in Access doesn't really appear to make that very easy, but it is very easy. So we're going to design view, and we can see the row source is a bit of SQL. Now if we click on the 3 dots which opens up that SQL, it'll open up in the query part of Access. So we can see the query that Access has created in the background in order to pull out the values for the drop down. And what we've got is 3 columns. We've got the first column, which is the ID from the ingredient type table. Then we've got type, and then we've got a, can't remember what they're called, parameter, something like that, doesn't really matter. That sorts the ascending, but this is a little bit of a bizarre way of doing it, and I'll show you why it doesn't work. So if we close this and go back to the form, we've got this parameter here which is called bound column, and it's currently set to 1. So if we go back to that query that it's created for us, what it's saying is display the second column, which is what we told it to do, but the actual value that we want to use is found in column 1, which is ID, which isn't working for us. So to fix that, we're going to change this to type, and we'll change this to type, so that basically column 1 is type, column 2 is type, and column 3 is type, and that's just controlling the sort order. There's lots of other ways of doing it, but actually that's just the quickest way. So that's the way I'm doing it. We'll close that, we'll say yes, save. Now what's happening is we leave the bound column to 1, but column 1 is still image type. So in theory, if we now run this and we create something called green, and let's select VG, close it. Yeah, we want to save the changes to the form. Open up the ingredients table, go down to the bottom, and we've got green, and it is now a VG as we want. So that, and let's open it up again, that has now replaced our fixed text field where we had to type everything in. We can now just select that from there, and there's no risk of making typos or forgetting how to spell flavour. The next thing we're going to need to do is to change the name, because we don't want to have to type in the manufacturer every time. But I think that we have done enough for today, so that will come next. Watching paint dry would be more interesting.